الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam dari Halal Expo Indonesia. Kami mengundang sahabat-sahabat teman-teman semua untuk menyaksikan program World Qur'an Fest 2022 atau WQF 2022 dengan mengangkat tema Rahmatan Lil Alamin atau membawa rahmat untuk semua umat. Menghadirkan lebih dari 30 Qori yang berasal dari banyak negara. Kita udah dapat dari Asia Afrika kemarin, terus juga ada dari Turki, and then dari Saudi Arabia, dari Indonesia, dan sekarang dari UK. Dan banyak sekali ustadz-ustadz insya Allah, para motivator yang akan join, dan insya Allah teman-teman bisa mendapat banyak ilmu yang luar biasa dari para orang tersebut. Kami akan menyelesaikan insya Allah 30 juz selama 30 hari, jadi satu hari, satu juz dalam 3 kurun waktu. Jadi teman-teman bisa ngaji bareng habis subuh, ba'da zuhur, dan ba'da tarawih seperti sekarang. Dan sehari insya Allah kita akan membaca kurang lebih 4-5 halaman. Insya Allah acara ini akan live full Ramadan, dari 1 Ramadan sampai nanti Lebaran. Dan acara ini insya Allah akan live di banyak YouTube channel, jadi teman-teman bisa lihat ini insya Allah acara yang sangat luar biasa besarnya di YouTube channel Halal Expo Indonesia, Kalif Official, Terang Jakarta, Muslim United, AQL Islamic Center, Ustadz Nurul Taufik, dan Vertizonetv. This event organized by Skyconnection dan Kalif, supported by Muslim United Official, AQL Islamic Center, Taufik _Talib, Terang Jakarta, Muda Indonesia, Hookmate, Albina Projects, Talent Mapping Official, dan Vertizonetv. This event sponsored by Wardah dan Kahf. Teman-teman, di bulan Ramadan ini, langkahmu yang terus bergerak akan selalu menghidupkan harapan untuk memberikan manfaat bagi semua. Wardah bergerak, hidupkan harapan. Nah, teman-teman semuanya, sobat-sobat semuanya, alhamdulillah hari ini kita kedatangan Qori dari negeri yang dimana banyak banget sepak bola, tim-tim keren. Negeri di mana Muhammad Salah bermain bola, yaitu dari UK. Nah, sekarang udah ada bersama kita Brother Hamzah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Habibi.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you doing?
I'm good. Well, before we start, I'm going to have small chit-chat for you. And I believe your Indonesian fans can't wait to hear your beautiful recitation. Well, and anyway, how is the fasting right now? Because this year, everything is better if compared with last year. And how is fasting this year in UK?
Fasting is, I think it's more difficult this year because now we're going back to work and everything like this. So it's just the only thing we're really struggling with is sleep. Not enough sleep.
Oh, okay.
But the fast is easy. It's just the sleep is not enough.
How long like for one day in UK when fasting? Yeah.
I think it's 14 or 16 hours.
Oh, it's quite long, isn't it? So you
quite long.
Do this sahur like 3 Fajr 4 o'clock is Fajr. All right. So when you're gonna break your
5 o'clock Fajr, 4:30, 4:15 suhoor time, and then we break fast at 8 o'clock, 8:05 now.
Oh, wow. Now it's a bit faster because, when I was in Germany, like 3 a.m. till 10 p.m. and now like a bit faster.
Yeah, it got a bit shorter.
Oh, because
before
now
it used to be like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now 8 o'clock, alhamdulillah.
Like last year, perhaps you see like 10 p.m. still like shining, brighting afternoon sunset, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, brother.
Nice.
Yeah, mashallah. So, brother, perhaps now I believe, inshallah, your Indonesian fans can't wait to listen your beautiful Quranic recitation. You already know the verses, right?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, brother, you may start now.
Inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه لنخرجنك يا شعيب والذين آمنوا معك من قريتنا أو لتعودن في ملتنا قال أولو كنا كارهين قد افترينا على الله كذبا إن عدنا في ملتكم بعد إذ نجانا الله منها وما يكون لنا أن نعود فيها إلا أن يشاء الله ربنا وسع ربنا كل شيء علما على الله توكلنا ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين وقال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه لئن اتبعتم شعيبا إنكم إذا لخاسرون فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين الذين كذبوا شعيبا كأن لم يغنوا فيها الذين كذبوا شعيبا كانوا هم الخاسرين فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالات ربي ونصحت لكم فكيف آسى على قوم كافرين وما أرسلنا في قرية من نبي إلا أخذنا أهلها بالبأساء والضراء لعلهم يضرعون ثم بدلنا مكان السيئة الحسنة حتى عفوا وقالوا قد مس آباءنا الضراء والسراء فأخذناهم بغتة وهم لا يشعرون ولو أن أهل القرى آمنوا واتقوا لفتحنا عليهم بركات من السماء والأرض ولكن كذبوا فأخذناهم بما كانوا يكسبون أفأمن أهل القرى أن يأتيهم بأسنا بياتا وهم نائمون أوأمن أهل القرى أن يأتيهم بأسنا ضحى وهم يلعبون أفأمنوا مكر الله فلا يأمن مكر الله إلا القوم الخاسرون أولم يهد للذين يرثون الأرض من بعد أهلها أن لو نشاء وصبناهم بذنوبهم ونطمع على قلوبهم فهم لا يسمعون تلك القرى نقص عليك من أنبائها ولقد جاءتهم رسلهم بالبينات فما كانوا ليؤمنوا بما كذبوا من قبل كذلك يطبع الله على قلوب الكافرين وما وجدنا لأكثرهم من عهد وإن وجدنا أكثرهم لفاسقين ثم بعثنا من بعدهم موسى بآياتنا إلى فرعون وملئه فظلموا بها فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المفسدين. وقال موسى يا فرعون إني رسول من رب العالمين حقيق على ألا أقول على الله إلا الحق قد جئتكم ببينة من ربكم فأرسل معي بني إسرائيل. قال إن كنت جئت بآية فأت بها إن كنت من الصادقين. فألقى عصاه فإذا هي ثعبان مبين ونزع يده فإذا هي بيضاء للناظرين. قال الملأ من قوم فرعون إن هذا لساحر عليم يريد أن يخرجكم من أرضكم فماذا تأمرون. قالوا أرجه وأخاه وأرسل في المدائن حاشرين يأتوك بكل ساحر عليم. وجاء السحرة فرعون قالوا إن لنا لأجرا إن كنا نحن الغالبين. قال نعم وإنكم لمن المقربين. قالوا يا موسى إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون نحن الملقين. قال ألقوا. فلما ألقوا سحروا أعين الناس واسترهبوهم وجاءوا بسحر عظيم. وأوحينا إلى موسى أن ألق عصاك فإذا هي تلقف ما يأفكون. فوقع الحق وبطل ما كانوا يعملون فغلبوا هنالك وانقلبوا صاغرين. وألقي السحرة ساجدين قالوا آمنا برب العالمين رب موسى وهارون. قال فرعون آمنتم به قبل أن آذن لكم إن هذا لمكر مكرتموه في المدينة لتخرجوا منها أهلها فسوف تعلمون. لأقطعن أيديكم وأرجلكم من خلاف ثم لأصلبنكم أجمعين. قالوا إنا إلى ربنا منقلبون. وما تنقم منا إلا أن آمنا بآيات ربنا لما جاءتنا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. وقال الملأ من قوم فرعون أتذر موسى وقومه ليفسدوا في الأرض ويذرك وآلهتك قال سنقتل أبناءهم ونستحيي نساءهم وإن فوقهم قاهرون. قال موسى لقومه استعينوا بالله واصبروا إن الأرض لله يورثها من يشاء من عباده والعاقبة للمتقين. قالوا أوذينا من قبل أن تأتينا ومن بعد ما جئتنا قال عسى ربكم أن يهلك عدوكم ويستخلفكم في الأرض فينظر كيف تعلمون ولقد أخذنا آل فرعون بالسنين ونقص من الثمرات لعلهم يذكرون فإذا جاءتهم الحسنة قالوا لنا هذه وإن تصبهم سيئة يطيروا بموسى ومن معه ألا إنما طائرهم عند الله ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون وقالوا مهما تأتنا به من آية لتسحرنا بها فما نحن لك بمؤمنين فأرسلنا عليهم الطوفان والجراد والقمل والضفادع والدم آيات مفصلات فاستكبروا وكانوا قوما مجرمين ولما وقع عليهم الرجز قالوا يا موسى ادع لنا ربك بما عهد عندك لئن كشفت عنا الرجز لنؤمنن لك ولنرسلن معك بني إسرائيل فلما كشفنا عنهم الرجز إلى أجل هم بالغوه إذا هم ينكثون فانتقمنا منهم فأغرقناهم في اليم بأنهم كذبوا بآياتنا وكانوا عنها غافلين وأورثنا القوم الذين كانوا يستضعفون مشارق الأرض ومغاربها التي باركنا فيها وتمت كلمة ربك الحسنى على بني إسرائيل بما صبروا ودمرنا ما كان يصنع فرعون وقومه وما كانوا يعرشون وجاوزنا ببني إسرائيل البحر فأتوا على قوم يعكفون على أصنام لهم قالوا يا موسى اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة قال إنكم قوم تجهلون إن هؤلاء متبر ما هم فيه وباطل ما كانوا يعملون قال أغير الله أبغيكم إلها وهو فضلكم على العالمين وإذ أنجيناكم من آل فرعون يسومونكم سوء العذاب يقتلون أبناءكم ويستحيون نساءكم وفي ذلكم بلاء من ربكم عظيم وواعدنا موسى 30 ليلة وأتممناها ب10 فتم ميقات ربه 40 ليلة وقال موسى لأخيه هارون اخلفني في قومي وأصلح ولا تتبع سبيل المفسدين ولما جاء موسى لميقاتنا وكلمه ربه قال رب أرني أنظر إليك قال لن تراني ولكن انظر إلى الجبل فإن استقر مكانه فسوف تراني فلما تجلى ربه للجبل جعله دكا وخر موسى صعقا فلما أفاق قال سبحانك تبت إليك وأنا أول المؤمنين صدق الله العظيم.
Masya Allah. Today kita alhamdulillah udah mendengar banyak sekali lantunan ayat suci Al-Quran dan termasuk dari Brother Hamzah dari UK. So, brother, now we are like 1 week in Ramadan, so we are already spending 7 days for fasting. And then this year, the topic is different. Last year is, I forgot what about last year, but today is about Rahmatan Lil Alamin. In your opinion, what is Rahmatan Lil Alamin?
In terms of Rahmatan Lil Alamin, what it means is the mercy of the world, right?
Yep.
So what we have from that is obviously we have, I think, 3 types of mercy. One is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mercy of Allah, which I find to be the greatest mercy. The second mercy is obviously the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam being our Prophet and us being part of his ummah. And then the third being the Qur'an. And that is the definition of Rahmatan Lil Alamin. That is the rahmah for us, the blessing for us that we have now.
Okay, so you mentioned like 3 things: Allah as our God, and the Prophet Muhammad as his messenger, and then the Quran.
Yeah.
If we combine those things and then we try to follow what Prophet say, and then follow what Quran says, do and don'ts, means that's Rahmatan Lil Alamin. Is it correct?
Yeah,
right?
I think it is. Yeah, that is the mercy. Is that following the Quran, following what the Prophet ﷺ has taught us, and following the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That in itself is the mercy. Because we're lucky enough to be part of this ummah, and we're lucky enough to have the Quran.
Okay, so brother, allow me to translate bahasa Indonesia. Is it good for you? Is it okay?
What was that, brother? I didn't hear you properly.
Sorry. So allow me to translate in bahasa Indonesia. Is it good for you?
Okay.
Okay,
of
jadi
course.
Oke, alhamdulillah. So tadi di pertanyaan pertama adalah tentang Rahmatan Lil Alamin di persepsi beliau seperti apa. Tadi intinya adalah beliau mengatakan bahwa mengikuti apa perintah Allah, berusaha untuk melakukan apa yang Nabi Muhammad lakukan, insya Allah kita udah bisa menjadi Rahmatan Lil Alamin itu bisa dilakukan, tentang merciful dan segala macamnya, dan terkesan simpel tapi itu sebenarnya dia. So brother, now current situation is kind of confusing, right? Sometimes we don't know which one is correct, which one is the wrong one. Sometimes we might, okay, this one is correct, but actually that's the wrong one. Sometimes we thinking like, oh, this is wrong, but actually this is the right one. So in your opinion, that if we just as simple as follow up Allah ask us that available in Quran, and also try to follow what Prophet Muhammad did in the past, basically you are safe. Is it like that?
There's a narration of the Prophet ﷺ where a man came to the Prophet ﷺ, the messenger of Allah, I love you. I love Allah and his messenger. And the Prophet ﷺ said to him, that is enough. And how do you love Allah and his messenger? By following what the Prophet ﷺ had said, so his sunnah. And what Allah has said is what is in the Quran, right? You stick to those and you'll be good. If you waver off it, then that's a problem. If you stick to your Quran and stick to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, there's no way you can go. You could be lost. That's the beauty of it. It's simple. We have the book with the rules, and we have the Prophet ﷺ with the guidance, as in telling us what to do, what not to do, how to do it, and everything is easy.
Oh, so well, man, it's so simple because a lot of people think like, oh, Islam is so complicated, a lot of restriction. I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But actually, when we saw the bigger picture, the straight lines, actually as simple as that, right?
The thing is that the restrictions that Allah has placed there is for our benefit. You don't realize it, like we cannot drink alcohol, for example.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's bad for you. There's so many dangers with alcohol. You can't smoke, for example. It's not good for you. It damages your body. It's another thing, right? And there are certain things that are good for you. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that maybe you like something and it is bad for you. And maybe you dislike something and it is good for you. But Allah knows best, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we have to realize, that Islam is not restricting you. It's making things easy for you and good for you.
So, jadi tadi seri pertanyaannya tadi intinya adalah, kok terkesan banyak orang tuh mikir Islam tuh ribet karena nggak boleh lakuin ini, nggak boleh lakuin ini kita suka tapi nggak boleh, terus kita mikir ini benar ternyata salah, ini salah atau benar. Pada dasarnya adalah restriction atau yang nggak bolehnya tadi adalah sesuatu yang sebenarnya berguna buat kita. Contoh teman-teman, alkohol itu haram. Tapi teman tahu nggak alkohol tuh nggak sehat buat tubuh kita, ya kan? Terus misalnya rokok, banyak orang bilang rokok tuh makruh, ada yang bilang haram, tapi nggak rokok tuh juga nggak sehat buat tubuh kita. Jadi sebenarnya restriction atau yang nggak boleh tadi itu adalah sebenarnya untuk menjaga kita untuk jalan yang benar. Dan again, beliau menyampaikan ini simple gitu loh, ngikutin Allah suruh kita apa. Terus yang kedua, kita Allah tuh minta kita begini gini ya kan, sebagai orang beriman kita wajib untuk mengikuti apa yang Tuhan kita mau gitu loh. Terus yang kedua, tapi kita nggak tahu example-nya, Allah turun Rasulullah Muhammad SAW, kita ikutin sunnah beliau. And then ya kalau misalnya perlu itu lagi, ada Quran, ya kan, itu kalamullah, masya Allah. Brother, a lot of people in this show perhaps starting want to learn about Islam. Perhaps they're from the dark past, they want to get better, or perhaps some of people are convert from the from non-Muslim become a Muslim. And my question is, how those people can choose the right teacher? Because like in school, we need a teacher, right, for study, learning something new. So in your opinion, how to choose the right teacher?
That's a tough question, mainly because when you sit with a teacher and you listen to them, you think they're telling you the right thing, right? You expect to learn the correct thing, okay? And, one thing we have that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is our brain, right? Yeah. And after we learn something, we should be looking at it and thinking, is this the right thing? And, researching it and learning about it as well on the side, after the class finishes, after you've been with a teacher, going home and looking at these things, these materials and information, and thinking, what, is this the correct thing? Is this right? Am I learning it correctly? Is the teacher correct? And then from there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the brain, the intellect, to realize that, what's right and what's wrong. Because, we can't, on Day of Qiyamah, we can't say to Allah, I didn't know. I thought I was right. No, Allah will say to you, look, I gave you the Quran, I gave you the Sunnah, you had the Sunnah, and your job was to just follow the right one. And that was by learning. Muslims were created to learn. Our job is to learn, to study, to learn the deen, to learn who Allah is, and to learn the love of Allah, to know who the Prophet ﷺ is, to learn the love of the Prophet ﷺ. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said that my ummah will be divided into 73 groups, and 72 are going to hellfire. And the one group that's going to Jannah is the one that followed my Quran, the Quran and my Sunnah. It's simple. All you have to do is open the book and read it. And if you don't understand it, go to someone who understands it and they'll teach you. So you're learning from the book.
So basically when again, I agree, because Allah give us very outstanding brain capabilities, then analysis capabilities, that sometimes when your brain says correct, but your heart says, wait, hold on for a second. I can sense something wrong, right? Yeah. So basically the thing that I got from you is when you learn from one teacher, for example, this teacher, you learn something from him. And then if you find something a little bit interesting for you, you can ask another person.
Yeah,
ask question.
Absolutely. Ask questions. Yeah.
All right. Because some people trying to compare, but they don't know what they compare. You know what I'm saying? Because one teacher says this, for example, and then he going to another teacher, and another teacher disagree what the first teacher says, and then creating a chaotic, right? And then in your opinion, how we can stop that situation? Because not a lot of, I don't know in the UK, but in Indonesia, sometimes people love to blame. Like my teacher, perhaps my teacher and your teacher is different. So, but some people say like, your teacher is not good, mine is better than yours. So in your opinion, how we can stop that? Because now it's kind of booming. I don't know in the UK or around, but Indonesia somehow it's kind of booming.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Like, people are saying, my teacher is right, your teacher is wrong.
Yeah.
And this teacher is better than this teacher, and this teacher is not good, and this teacher is good. But end of the day, your job is to learn the deen, learn the religion. No matter how great or not great, as some people say the teacher is, okay? Your job is to see the teacher as someone who you can learn from. You learn from him. And then if you want, go to another teacher, learn from that teacher too, and learn from another teacher. And then you decide what is right. It's your job to decide, not the teacher's job to decide. It's your job to decide what is correct. Like, for example, if you go to Egypt and you study in Al University, when they teach you fiqh, for example, or they teach you books, they give you the book, you learn the book, and then you choose what is correct. It's your job to choose. Because, like, for example, we commit a sin, right? We blame shaitan, right?
Yeah.
On Qiyamah, when we go up to shaitan and say, you made me do this, and shaitan will say, no, I'm free from you. I didn't make you do it. I just suggested, or I whispered it. You chose to do it. You understand?
Yeah.
And so the same way with knowledge, you go, you learn it, and then you decide what's correct. That's the best way to go. There's no good teacher and bad teacher. And there's no, his teacher is better than his teacher. All teachers are teachers, end of the day. You can't disrespect another teacher because that's wrong. Because end of the day, they've learned the religion. They've learned it from someone, and Allah has given them the blessing of learning. So we have to respect every teacher.
Yeah, also I think that we're having a lot of teachers is good for you, right? So you have a lot of perspective and make you rich, right?
Absolutely. Like, for example, I study Quran with 4 different teachers.
Mashallah, so many.
Yeah, 4 teachers. So each teacher I learn from, and one teacher says, you're making a mistake here, fix this. And I go to another one, he says, you fix this. And then I just combine it all. And I practice like that. It's the best way.
Alright. Jadi tadi pertanyaan awalnya itu dimulai dengan banyak teman-teman nih mungkin di sini yang sedang mau berhijrah atau seorang mualaf gitu. Gimana sih cara milih guru yang baik? Sebenarnya ya menurut dia tuh ya belajar. Nanti somehow kita tuh kadang di hati kita tuh akan ada rasa kayak ini menurut otak kita benar, tapi hati kita kok ada yang something interesting, ada yang sesuatu yang menarik nih. Akhirnya bisa nanya guru lain, tapi bukan berarti ketika kita dapat sebuah pendapat dari guru yang lain dan itu menurut kita lebih baik, kita menghujat yang sebelah sana karena nggak ada guru yang kamu lebih baik atau lebih buruk dan sebagainya. Intinya adalah belajar ke banyak guru tuh bagus karena kita mendapatkan banyak ilmu baru, khazanah ilmu baru, sehingga kita makin kaya dan wawasannya makin luas. Beliau saja punya guru Al-Quran tuh 4 orang, sehingga dia dibenerin ini, akhirnya menjadi seorang Hamzah sekarang. Brother, I forget in 2021 or 2020, there's I believe until today, the Islamophobia a bit rises in Europe, especially in French. I don't know, is it impact also in UK? Because since French and UK are like brothers,
Not so much in the UK. Alhamdulillah, we have lots of very big Muslim communities in the UK. Obviously, everyone has their own different opinions and everything. But, there's a lot of big communities in London, Birmingham, Leeds, where I am. And alhamdulillah, there are people who are wanting to learn religion. But, there are issues as well in that, obviously you get, in some places, maybe a bit of Islamophobia, but I can go now outside wearing a thobe, wear my hat, and no one will say anything to me. I could walk 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to the Masjid, and no one will say anything. There'll be no problems. And it's always nice to see other Muslim brothers around, but Islamophobia is not big in UK, but there are places where there is Islamophobia. More in France. Very bad in France.
Yeah.
But not as much here. Alhamdulillah.
And how you cope with that? How you handle with that? I mean, you say that it's not so big as in France, but still minor issues about it, right? So how you deal with it? As generally speaking, how our brother and sister, Muslim brother sister in UK deal with that?
When we do experience Islamophobia, we have to realize that the person who is saying it is not educated on religion. He does not know Islam, right? Yep. He has a bad perspective or view of Islam. And your job is to educate him. There's no point, or her. If somebody, says something bad about Islam to you, or, says, why are you wearing this? It looks wrong, of this and this. And maybe they swear at you or they attack you. Your job is not to be angry with them.
Mm.
Your job is to feel sorry for them.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, the Prophet ﷺ, he was a mercy to people. He was so merciful when people, used to attack him and beat him. He didn't curse them. He showed them mercy. He taught them Islam. And that's how they fell in love with Islam. The mushrikeen didn't, like the people of Quraysh, they hated the Prophet ﷺ. Or some of them did at least. And how did they come to Islam? Through love, through mercy, through being understood. You have to understand them. You have to connect with them. You have to show them what Islam really is. Like, end of the day, Islam might be this beautiful religion, but what the non-Muslims see is you. If you don't show them Islam from your outside, how are they supposed to know what Islam is?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting though, because I think that makes Islam so special, because when we get attacked, like Islamophobia thing, our job to feel sorry and then perhaps forgive. Try to understand the situation, because I agree.
It's hard to forgive. It's hard to forgive.
Okay.
Because if you're attacked, for example, if someone attacks you, you're going to be angry. You're going to be upset. You're going to hate them. But you have to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you. And maybe through you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings that person to Islam.
Oh.
That's the beauty of it, Anything, even one word, one kind word might make that person think, you know what? I'm going to go look, what is Islam really? This person didn't attack me back. This person didn't say anything to me. I'm going to go home and I'm going to, find the Quran. I'm going to go buy one and I'm going to read it. Maybe they become Muslim because of you. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. From your word, I just remember how Umar ibn Khattab became a Muslim, when he wanted to kill Prophet Muhammad, but somehow he get information that his little sister convert to Islam, and they come to the house and then somehow read the Surat Al and they come to the Arqam the Darul Arqam, and then become Muslim, mashallah. Yeah. Because sometimes we thinking like fist against fist, what I'm saying? If you get punched, you punch him back. But actually, what we learned from our Prophet Muhammad, what he did, especially, for example, like in Ta'if, he prayed to Allah that inshallah that place will be a lot of good people in there, right? So actually, I think that things that quite missing in certain generation, because sometimes when we get attacked, we cursing back, right?
The thing is, the problem as Muslims are having these days is that we are too quick and too hasty. It's all like we all have the problem. I have the problem sometimes, where I want things done very quickly, or things that happen straight away. And even when it comes to someone, if someone attacks me, I want to attack them back straight away. You have to take a minute to relax and realize, the Prophet ﷺ said, "La taghdab," do not become angry, because anger is what? From shaitan.
Yeah.
And if you're angry standing up, then sit down. And if you're angry sitting down, then lay down. And what the real message is that what happened in his life to the Prophet ﷺ, where he was stoned and he was pelted with stones and he was attacked. And all his dua was literally, "Oh Allah, show mercy on them, forgive them." And maybe one person comes from Ta'if who's Muslim. Maybe one becomes Muslim. That's enough. And the same way, like if you're attacked and someone swears at you and curses you, just give them peace, salam. Peace, salam. And maybe from that peace they become Muslim.
Yeah.
If they don't become Muslim, then at least you're getting the reward of it.
Yeah. At least when the attackers saw your action, it's just like, hold on for a second, what's wrong with this guy, right?
Yeah.
And then can generate, they like, oh wait, I'm so interested what he's doing, and then become Muslim, inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ini menarik teman-teman, karena beberapa waktu yang lalu Islamophobia mulai naik di Eropa gitu, seperti yang di Prancis, gimana pemerintah Prancis ingin menutup banyak masjid, melarang pakai hijab dan beberapa negara Eropa. Nah, alhamdulillah di UK tuh nggak terlalu separah di Prancis dan beberapa negara Eropa. Tapi bagi dia tuh Islamophobia tuh justru ladang dakwah gitu loh. Jadi banyak seorang Islamophobia gini-gini, tapi bagi dia tuh ladang dakwah, karena apa? Bener juga kata dia tadi bilang. Kalau kita dapat orang Islamophobia, pertama yang harus kita tancapkan diri kita adalah orang ini gak ngerti agama Islam apa, orang ini gak punya ilmu. Jadi kita feel so sorry, kita merasa kayak kasihan, and then kita doain atau kita dakwahi gitu loh. Emang sih manusia kadang kalau misalnya dapat serangan itu akan responsnya adalah serang balik. Tapi lihat deh teman-teman, ketika hati mulai berbicara untuk merubah seseorang, teman-teman mungkin ingat ketika tadi yang diceritakan juga Umar bin Khattab masuk Islam. Bukankah dia waktu saat itu mau membunuh Nabi Muhammad SAW dengan membawa pedangnya digerak di tanah, tapi akhirnya dia ketemu seseorang dan bilang, Umar, adikmu tuh masuk Islam. Akhirnya dia ke rumah adiknya, mandi, baca Quran, dan masuk Islam. Dan bagaimana kisah Rasulullah SAW di Taif, ditimpukin batu, mereka tertawarin nih, mau nggak nih ke Taif ditimpain gunung, tapi Rasulullah bilang kayak didoain, dan Masya Allah karena Taif banyak banget orang soleh. Jadi intinya adalah, kalau ketemu orang yang membenci kita, menurut dia, tenang dulu. Jangan langsung serang, jangan langsung reaksi, tenang dulu, pikir, baru, mungkin dia nggak tahu. Karena banyak sekarang orang pikir dia tahu, padahal nggak tahu apa-apa. Banyak yang baru belajar, tapi sotonya luar biasa. Okay, the thing is, right now, it's kind of rare to hear Islam equal to terrorists, right? I don't know what's going on, but a couple of years ago, perhaps in the early 2000s, until some years back, how was your situation in UK? I don't know, because in America, the thing that I heard is so difficult as a Muslim because people will blame you as terrorist. You blame me as Al-Qaeda or something like that. But in UK, is it similar or more easy?
To be honest, it is easier in the UK than America. I was in the UK, America for a little bit of time as well. So I very rarely experienced it there as well. Maybe in some places, but like the same with the UK. Some places there will be, it will be worse than others. Some places there'll be no problem. At the end of the day, it's down to educating people, teaching people. If you're not teaching the non-Muslims about Islam, then you expect they will listen to the news, the TV. The TV is there to misguide them. The TV will always say, Muslim, terrorist, attacker, bad person, this. They will never say anything good about Islam. That's why it's so important to educate them. To hold events where you call non-Muslims, you invite them and you show them what Islam is. That's the only way to do it. There's no real issue with terrorism here, like in terms of people being called. Maybe there's a few people that say when they're angry or whatever. There's no real issue.
In fact, like I remember in London a couple years ago, there's an apartment burned down, and then the Muslim people, the one that helping the people first.
Yeah. There was one Quran reciter that I know that was helping as well. Like there was a lot of Muslims that helped.
Yeah, I think again, I think that's the thing that kind of missing. Like again, what you said earlier, that when we get a punch, we punch them back. Like we have to stand down, relax a bit, and then like you say, these people not well educated about Islam.
Yeah.
Now
it all comes down to education. If you're not teaching people, how do you expect them to learn anything? The same way with me and you. For example, if we are to sit down and just say we didn't know anything about Islam, if we had to sit down and just open the Quran, we won't be able to read it because it's Arabic. Then we'll go and we'll get something that we understand and learn it. Or we'll go through a way that we can learn it. And it's the same way with the non-Muslims. We have to go there and teach them.
So it means that every single Muslim, like you and me and the show officials and all Muslims around the world, at least they have basic knowledge about Islam.
And if they don't, it's their job to learn.
Oh yeah, correct. Agree.
Every Muslim has an obligation to call the non-Muslims to Islam, but also to bring our own Muslim brothers back to Islam too.
Yeah.
The ones that don't know about Islam properly or are far from Islam, it's our job to bring them back as well.
Yeah.
We're doing two jobs, non-Muslims and Muslims too.
Yeah.
Care about both.
Yeah, correct. Because some people that still not so into it about learning Islam, they say they as a Muslim, but they are not to the praying the Salah, don't recite the Quran. I think I don't know, in your opinion, it's harder to make people hijrah, the Muslim that still do the best stuff to become the better Muslim. It's easier for you to make to convince them to be better, or to make people convert to Islam. Which one is more easier for you?
They're both difficult because you need to do different things for each. But look, when you go to a non-Muslim and you teach them about Islam, they don't know anything. Okay? So you can start from the basics and you can, build it up. And that might take a long time. It might be difficult and, it might take a lot of, teaching and whatever. And that's the hard part. But they will understand it at some point. But then Muslim, who is far from Islam, he understands it. So he's far from it. Now you have to make him fall in love with the religion again. So he may know things, but he doesn't care about it. Like, for example, you said Salah, right? To be able to pray Salah correctly and, to show love in Salah. That's hard because you can't just teach that. You have to make them feel it, So that's the job of you. It's not even your job. Like, you have to teach them, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to shower mercy on him. Allah has to heal his heart. And, and once your heart reaches the stage where, it begins to soften, that's when you start falling in love with religion. That's when you fall in love with Salah, because you have to understand why you're reading it, what you're reading, the meaning of it, and why Allah has written it for you. And you have to realize that when you're praying Salah, you're talking directly to Allah. Face to face, you're talking to Allah. Allah is listening to you. When you say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Allah says, indeed I am, I am the greatest. All praise is to me. Allah is answering. Every ayah you read, Allah is answering. And that's the beauty of it, is that when you're reading in Salah, you're having a conversation with Allah. And Allah is replying to you. And you have to know that, you have to learn that. And you have to fall in love with that.
Yeah.
But I think both are difficult. Bringing people to Islam is not easy. Non-Muslims to Islam, difficult job. Of course it is. But you have to start somewhere. And in terms of bringing our own brothers back to Islam, the ones that are Muslims, our sisters, and, making them fall in love with religion, we have to bring them back to the Masjid. And the only way the Masjid brings them back is by holding events. Like we have this Qur'an thing that you have going on. And, other events like this, people are interested in. But they'll think, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll go there. I'll see if I learn something. And then it's not to have, 5-hour-long talks or 6-hour-long talks, because people don't like to listen for a long time. If you teach someone for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then let them go away and think about it, that will have more of an effect than making someone sit for 5 hours, 6 hours, and then falling asleep. Right? People like things in short amounts. Like, when you look at a video on, Instagram or YouTube, you don't want to look at long videos. You want 20 seconds, 30 seconds, next video. 30 seconds, next video. And you'll remember the video. That's how it works with Deen as well. Because we're in that age where people like, short things. If you give them one message a day, a 15-second message every day, it's more of an effect than you giving them a 4-hour lecture. Because it's a little bit at a time. You can't just, throw a whole load of books on somebody's table and say, read all these books and you'll fall in love with Islam again. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But slowly just chipping away at the heart, slowly softening it, making them falling in love slowly. Because at the end of the day, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, it took time for them to fall in love with Islam, Like what came first? The ayahs that came first from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the companions and to the Muslims was ayahs about Jannah, Jahannam. Why? Because Allah wanted them to fall in love with Jannah, make the heart, strong on Jannah, to want Jannah, nothing else, and to be away from the hellfire. So once the hearts were strong on that, then the command came down from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah knew they were ready then.
Yeah.
It's the same way. You've got to make them fall in love, then give them the ruling. It's with anything. If I want to go learn Quran, I start with, if I want a beautiful voice in reciting, or if I want to make my voice better, what do? I go to a teacher, and he'll find a way to teach me that I like. Or I'll find a teacher that I like, and I'll go and I'll sit with him. And I learn. And I learn, from the basics of, how to make my voice better. because I'm interested. And when I fall in love with that idea of listening to Quran reciters and being a better reciter, I go to more teachers and I learn more. The same way with religion. You find something you're interested in, fall in love with it, and then carry on from there. It's like dominoes. You hit one dominoes and then they all fall off slowly.
Oke, jadi tadi pertanyaan tentang terorisme karena beberapa di tahun 2000-an itu kan parah ya, terorisme selalu dikaitkan dengan Islam. Mungkin dibilang bahwa ya itu tugas kita sebagai Muslim mengajarkan kepada teman-teman kita yang belum Muslim bahwa Islam tuh nggak gini, gitu loh. Kita harus sering belajar gitu. Kita harus menjadi seorang ambassador Islam yang ibaratnya kalau nggak harus tahu basicnya, tahu it's good, understand it's good. Tapi kalau misalnya masih kurang lengkap, belajar lagi. Karena bagi dia bilang tadi adalah Islam adalah memaksa kita, which is bagus untuk belajar terus. Karena belajar nggak bisa berhenti gitu. Mungkin berhenti belajar ketika kita mati. Dan tugas kita untuk mengedukasi mereka bahwa Islam tuh nggak gini. Dan untuk mengajak mereka ini Islam tuh gini loh. Dan nggak usah panjang-panjang gitu loh. Karena apa? Ya seperti kita nonton YouTube atau nonton di Instagram Reels atau IGTV, kita tuh kadang manusia tuh secara algoritma Instagram, orang tuh sukanya pakai 15 detik pertama, 20 detik pertama. Apalagi kita mau influence teman-teman kita yang non-Muslim jadi Islam, atau yang Islam untuk menjadi lebih baik. Bagi beliau, dua kasus tadi itu sama susah gitu. Dan approach-nya beda, tapi masih bisa dilakukan. Dengan apa? Dengan kita ngerti dulu apa yang mau kita omongin, kita sampaikan dengan efektif dan tidak terlalu lama. Karena bayangin aja gini, kita baru pertama kali ke kelas, sebuah kelas, terserah apapun di benak teman-teman, tapi kasih buku sekabrik-kabrik dar, harus baca dan cintai. Mana mau, karena berat banget ya kan. Nah jadi ya pelan-pelan. So brother, the things that make interesting right now is I saw the rise of Islam. For example, in the real Ramadan, people gather to pray in TARAWIH, the SURAT Al A'raf in Times Square. And in some place in Europe, they allow to azan a bit louder than before. I don't know where it was, but I think in Germany, some part in Netherlands, I don't know in UK it's happened or not. In your opinion, is it good things for us or is it just normal thing for us?
I don't understand your question. What do you mean, like?
Because in the real Ramadan, I get information in New York that people in Times Square, people praying Tarawih together, the Salat of Tarawih together. And then a couple of years ago, I think in 2020 or 2021, some country in Europe allowed people to do azan louder. Other people can hear. Usually, either when I was in Germany, now perhaps in Leeds, UK, you just can listen the azan inside the mosque, but people outside the mosque can listen, can hear the azan. Yeah. That's actually kind of rise of Islam, right? With now people said where Islam is not like used to people thinking. In your opinion, is it good, or is just like is it normal thing?
No, it's a very good thing if things like this are happening, because it means that people are beginning to get Islam in a way where they're more understanding. They're like, Islam is a religion, that people practice their religion. Before, there was places in the UK where you weren't even allowed to do adhan outside at all. Like, period, no, not allowed. And, with time, now messages are allowed to, do it out loud. Everyone outside can hear it too. And you know what? I think it's a beautiful way of calling people to religion. Some people might not like it. That's normal. But you know what? Everyone has an opinion. There will always be people that like it and people that don't like it. And, whatever country, whether you're in a Muslim country where azan is loud all the time, whether you're in a non-Muslim country, there will always be people that dislike it and like it, and you have to just go along. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the opportunity to, do it, then do it. Because it's a good thing. Because you never know, one person might come to the masjid and ask about it. He goes, what is this, this reciting that's going on outside? What is it? And you tell them, and then they want to know more. Then they want to know more. Before you know it, they accept Islam. Or they research about Islam, and they learn more, and they begin to learn. And the same with our Muslim brothers and sisters too, like when they hear the adhan out loud, and maybe they're not praying, but that one day they heard it out loud outside, and they went to the masjid and prayed.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And that's the beauty of it. That Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and it will continue to grow, inshallah. And it's a great thing that's happening, alhamdulillah. And inshallah, it'll continue to get better.
Amin. Jadi tadi pertanyaan adalah, karena Islam tuh mulai bertumbuh. Kayak awal Ramadan tuh, teman-teman pasti ingat ada sholat jamaah TARAWIH di Times Square, New York. Satu tempat yang ibaratnya teman-teman nonton King Kong segala macam tuh ada tuh gedung Times Square. Times Square itu gedung tinggi, LED board semua. Sholat tarawih tengah-tengah situ. Biasa di situ kayak konser, tapi orang dokter siapa jadi imam dan sholat di situ. Dan beberapa tempat di Eropa tuh azan udah boleh keluar. Dan menurut dia tuh hal yang baik gitu, karena itu menjadi syiar dakwah. Memang sih kadang kita berdakwah pun juga ada yang nggak suka, pasti itu wajar. Cuman itu bisa menjadi orang tuh menarik, bentar, ini kok bagus gitu ya. Ini kok luar biasa, peaceful, dan keren banget, dan akhirnya orang itu menjadi Islam. Okay, brother, before we close the show, because I know that in Jakarta it's quite late right now, but in UK, you're gonna break your fast soon, right?
No, bro. We have 4.5 hours left yet.
Oh,
yeah.
Still quite long. But anyway, my last question is: do you have any advice to youth? Because tomorrow, the youth will be the new president, the new leader, especially the Islamic youth. Do you have any advice for all Islamic youth to be a good Islamic youth and to be the good example as well?
Okay. My first advice to the youth is that ask questions. That's the most important thing, is that if you don't know something, or you disagree with something, or you think, maybe I'm not sure about this, ask. The only way you will get your answers. If someone gives an opinion about something and you don't agree with it, then ask them why they have that opinion. Learn. It's about learning. And whether it takes you 5 years or 10 years to learn. And be patient. Take your time. When learning about Islam or anything, the most important thing is to take your time. The same way that the Quran came over a period of 20 or so years. Religion was perfected in 20 or so years. The same way with the youth. Start off small. Don't rush yourself. Take your time. Be patient. And with time, you learn. But find something you're interested in. And, don't be lazy. That's the main thing. Laziness is the worst thing. And then social media, be careful how you're using social media. And be with people and friends who remind you of Allah. Imam Shafi'i, he says that if you want to know a man's religion, look at his friends. If his friends are not religious, he will not be religious. If his friends are religious, then he is religious. If his friends are students of knowledge and want to learn about Islam, then he will also do the same. Because if all my friends around me are, going to the masjid every day and they're studying Quran or whatever, I'm going to want to go too, to be with my friends, but also to learn now. Because they're learning, I want to learn. If my friends are talking about Quran, I want to be able to talk about it too. I want to understand it. So it's important to have good people around you. And if there are people that are in your friend group that are doing wrong and they're doing wrong, then tell them. Be honest. Be straight up. If someone is doing wrong, tell them they're doing wrong, and then tell them how to be better. People are too afraid to say things these days. If you have an issue within yourself, fix the issue and then help others fix it too. Help yourself, but help others. End of the day, we are all brothers and sisters of Islam, in Islam, and it's important to look after each other. Because end of the day, the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it to preserve. And, because we are all related by Islam, you don't want to see your brother and your sister in hellfire. You want to see them in Jannah. You want to see them happy. So the most important thing for the youth is that stick together. and teach each other, and learn from each other. And don't be hasty, don't rush, just take your time.
Oke, jadi tadi nasihatnya adalah untuk para pemuda nih. Dia bilang adalah santai. Karena dan selalu belajar, selalu bertanya. Kalau nggak tahu, tanya, belajar terus. Kalau misalnya Anda menemukan sesuatu yang kayak, kok gini, gitu, yang sedikit meragukan bagi dia, tanya. Atau di bahasa Islamnya tabayun, tanya, belajar. Karena, again, tadi seperti pertanyaan adalah, kita nih yang muda-muda akan menjadi penguasa, akan menjadi generasi yang akan memimpin, gitu lah. Dan selalu bantu orang lain. Kalau misalnya ada masalah, ya kita selesaikan dulu, terus selesaikan orang lain, bantu orang lain. Bantu orang itu dengan masalahnya. Dan kelilingi diri kita tuh dengan orang-orang yang belajar yang agamanya baik, insya Allah. Karena Imam Syafi'i bilang, ngeliat orang tuh, lihat teman-teman ya, kalau teman-teman baik, insya Allah tuh baik. Kalau enggak, ya enggak gitu loh. Dan itu sebuah nasihat yang luar biasa. Semoga teman-teman yang muda di youth, the youth, bisa menjadi penerus estafet dakwah Islam. Okay, brother, I would like to say thank you so much on behalf of the show, and I hope that either we, Halal Expo Indonesia, visit you in UK or vice versa someday, inshallah. I would like to say thank you, and then have a good afternoon, and then I hope you enjoy your day today.
You too, inshallah, Habibi. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Oke, teman-teman semuanya, alhamdulillah ini sesi yang luar biasa. Ini ilmu yang kalau bahasa anak jaksel ini daging semua nih. Nah, jadi teman-teman, yang bisa kita petik adalah kalau kita mendapatkan bukan serangan ya, tapi kita bulian atau ya serangan juga, jangan kalau bisa untuk tahan, karena ya emosi itu fitrah manusia, tapi tahan dulu, stand down, relax dulu gitu. Kita kalau ngeliat kayak, oh mungkin orang ini nggak tahu. Berarti kalau orang ini nggak tahu, kita yang tahu, kita edukasi aja. Kalau bebel nggak mau, ya doain aja ke Allah, insya Allah Allah akan bukan hatinya untuk mengerti. Dan again, sebagai muslim, selalulah Allah, selalulah haus untuk belajar, tanya terus, belajar terus, sehingga nanti kita bisa menyebarkan kebaikan dan bisa menjadi ambassador Islam yang baik dan benar. Nah, teman-teman, dari semua perbincangan tadi, intinya adalah bulan Ramadan ini bulan yang kita bisa belajar lebih banyak. Karena kita at least belajar sabar. Kita nahan lapar, nahan aus, nahan emosi, gitu kan. Apalagi teman-teman di jalan kayak, ada mobil, tiba-tiba motor apa yang marah, kita harus sabar. Masih puasa. Nah, itu kita harus tetap langkah, nih, teman-teman. Untuk menjadi baik, ya mikir boleh, tapi jangan mikir. Teruslah melangkah. Bagi di bulan Ramadan ini, langkahmu yang terus bergerak akan selalu menghidupkan harapan. Untuk memberikan manfaat bagi semua. Wardah, bergerak, hidupkan harapan. Teman-teman, terima kasih banyak atas waktunya, dan insya Allah besok subuh kita akan bertemu lagi, kita ngaji bareng, dan segenap kru yang bertugas mohon pamit dan mohon maaf lahir batin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان.
Senyum itu beri banyak kebaikan. Senyum menyebarkan semangat. Senyum menumbuhkan kesabaran. Kahf Face Wash, bersihkan dan lembabkan kulit wajah. Bantu keluarkan senyum terbaikmu, karena senyum itu sedekah.
وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. وخلق الجن من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء